দর্শক আমন্ত্রণ আরটিভি নিয়মিত আলোচনা অনুষ্ঠান ফোর্থরাইটে আপনাদের সঙ্গে আছি আমি সৈয়দ আশিক রহমান। এই অনুষ্ঠানে আমরা কথা বলি বিভিন্ন সেক্টরের বিশেষজ্ঞদের সাথে যারা বাংলাদেশ নিয়ে ভবিষ্যৎ পরিকল্পনা ও তাদের অভিজ্ঞতা নিয়ে আলোচনা করেন। করোনা মহামারী সংকটে দেশের বাল্যবিবাহের মতো ক্ষতিকর চর্চা বাড়তে পারে বলে একাধিক গবেষণায় উঠে এসেছে। বাল্যবিবাহ সহ জাতিসংঘের এবছরের জনসংখ্যা সম্পর্কিত প্রতিবেদনের বিভিন্ন দিক নিয়ে আলোচনা করতে আমাদের সঙ্গে যোগ দিয়েছেন UNFPA এর কান্ট্রি ডিরেক্টর ডক্টর আশা টার্কেলসন, তত্ত্বাবধায়ক সরকারের সাবেক উপদেষ্টা এবং ব্র্যাকের চেয়ারপারসন ডক্টর হোসেন জিল্লুর রহমান এবং সাবেক স্বাস্থ্যমন্ত্রী অধ্যাপক ডক্টর আফম রুহুল হক। ফার্স্টলি, I would like to thank Dr. Asa Torkelsson, Dr. Hossein Jillur Rahman and Dr. Ruhul Haq for joining with us. And it's an open platform, so any one of you can ask each other. I would like to start with Dr. Asa. Dr. Asa, COVID-19 is not proportionally impacting women as existing gender inequalities are aggravating gender-based gap between women and girls. In your view, what is the reason behind?
Thank you. I believe that the reason behind this is the division of resources at its very starting point, where we can see that in general, in the whole world, and the same in Bangladesh, that women have, relatively speaking, lesser access to the different forms of resources. Now, there are so many resources. It can be land in a rural setting. It can be access to education, can be access to health. It can be access to finances. So if we speak in very broad terms, if we generalize, generally there is a gender dimension so that the resource portfolios of women in general are smaller than those of men. And if you have a smaller resource, it is also more difficult to propel it, to make it grow. This is the well-known multiplier effect. So we see it in pretty much every area, that women have harder to stay on in education longer and have harder times to progress in the labor market and so on. So this COVID is the great disruptor because it has, of course, made it super more challenging for everyone, but it has also deepened women's specific vulnerabilities. And the one point I would like to, if you permit me, because I'm in a glorious company of the great experts here on the panel today, but the disruption of education, keeping women in the households, we are seeing that the rates of gender-based violence, there is a risk of unplanned pregnancies, and there is also a risk for child marriage. And that will have very lasting vulnerability repercussions for girls and women throughout their lifetime.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Dr. Hossein Jillur Rahman, what will be the socio-economic impact of COVID-19 on Bangladesh, and how will this impact women and girls?
We are already seeing the impact. The impact has been extremely severe. We carried out a survey in April when the COVID-19 had just struck, and we found that income levels had dropped by nearly 70 to 80%. There has been some recovery since then because economics activities have started. What I want to say is that the economic impact has been extremely severe, and it's severe in two types of senses. আমাদের অর্থনীতির উপর ধাক্কাটা একটা হচ্ছে ইমিডিয়েট সংকট হয়েছে। ইমিডিয়েট সংকট মানে লকডাউনের কারণে অর্থনীতির কর্মকাণ্ড বন্ধ হয়ে গেছে, আয় রোজগারের পথ বন্ধ হয়ে গেছে, এবং আমরা দেখেছি যে দরিদ্ররা আরো দরিদ্র হয়েছে এবং নতুন দরিদ্র হয়ে গেছে অনেক নিম্ন মধ্যবিত্তের লোকজন। এটা এক ধরনের ইম্প্যাক্ট হয়েছে। I think from the short-term impact is one thing, but the bigger worry is about the more deeper impact. কারণ আমাদের ধরেন the world economy is also not in a good state. আমাদের অনেকগুলো রপ্তানি খাতের যে জায়গাগুলো they are facing some uncertainties. আমাদের আভ্যন্তরীণ অর্থনীতির মধ্যেও সমস্যা হয়েছে, আমাদের প্রবাসের অনেক লোকজনকে এখন ফেরত আসতে হচ্ছে। There is a lot of return migrants, and among them the women migrants also may be facing the even more difficulties. এই যে লঙ্গার টার্ম যে চ্যালেঞ্জগুলো, সো আমরা যেটা দেখতে পাচ্ছি যে there is an immediate crisis in terms of dramatic fall in income, যেটা হয়তো রিলিফ ইত্যাদির মাধ্যমে কিছুটা we can overcome, but then there is a longer term impact. In that impact, how women's progress that we have made so far, এটা কিভাবে হবে, we have to really look at that, and we have to really think about. And এখানে আরেকটা কথা বলে আমি শেষ করব। জেনারেলি আমরা জানি যে ইম্প্যাক্ট হচ্ছে, but there is a challenge of here of knowing exactly how these things are impacting. আমি যেটা বলতে চাচ্ছি, we need actual accurate field level data. কারণ ঘরে বসে armchair theorizing করতে পারি, কিন্তু we need from the field exactly how people are being impacted, how women are being impacted,
Well,
how girls' opportunities are being impacted. ওই ডেটার উপরও এখন খুব নজর দেওয়াটা জরুরি হয়ে গেছে।
জি
ধন্যবাদ।
জি ধন্যবাদ। আপনার কাছে আমি আবার আসবো। ডক্টর রুল হক, হোয়াট আর দ্য প্রাইমারি চ্যালেঞ্জেস ইন বাংলাদেশ ইন অ্যাড্রেসিং কোভিড-19?
The challenges of COVID in Bangladesh is twofold. One is prevention and one is treatment of these patients. At present, we are fighting in both sectors. The prevention is the most important, as we all know, that only thing that we have that we can prevent getting infected. Once you're getting infected, a lot of people will get better, but a certain percentage will end up in ICU and hospital. And once you're there, it's very difficult to know what is going to be the fate. So the best way is to prevent infection or try to prevent transmission. And there, all over the world, I think we are in terrible trouble. So as we give way to the economic activity, we incur more and more the transmission of from one person to the other. And that has been happening here. Since that is the big problem, we are also in the same boat. Bangladesh is also in the same boat. We have to continue the economic activity, but have to prevent the transmission. If the people are on the road, the transmission increases. Unfortunately, in our country, we could not do the what we call lockdown or keeping people at home at any one time. I mean, the whole country. We said so, but people did not obey. We also did not go into the hardest way, like many other countries have done, that everybody must stay home. I'm advocating wearing masks for everybody. If we could make it compulsory, then we can reduce the transmission. That is well known.
Dr. Hossein Jillur Rahman, we have made progress in eliminating poverty. The number of poor people is a few crores. What is the direct impact of the 72,000 crore taka incentive on these people?
To answer your question, we have to find out whether that incentive has reached those people.
Exactly.
That's a big question, because the incentive was mentioned, but now we had to know whether the people who are supposed to receive that money have received that money. There has been a lot of questions about whether the appropriate lists have been prepared or the appropriate people have received the money. As you know, the relief efforts of the government was basically during the months of April and May, on the argument that economic activities have started, so relief is no longer needed. Now, the poor people, as you say, we had the poor people already, around 20% was of our, as per official data. And due to COVID-19, various studies, including ours, have shown that another 20% may have fallen into poverty. So there is a huge population. Government may not be able to address all of them, but the critical issue here is not just the ability to, and it's not government alone who can solve this issue. Social actors, various individuals, community level, and they have come forward to provide some. I think what we should be thinking about is to realize that there is a big challenge in front of us. It's not just for Bangladesh, it's for the world as a whole. These challenges have to be understood well.
Exactly.
And we have to mobilize all forces within society. Government alone cannot do it. Community have to get in, NGOs have to get in, individuals have to get in.
Everybody
all
should.
Together, development partners have to chip in.
Exactly.
All together, if we get our combine our efforts, we can perhaps try and tackle this. But we should not try to be optimistic just by being optimistic.
Well, Dr. Asa, a recent study said that COVID-19 lockdown increases domestic violence in Bangladesh. In your view, how this number may reduce? What are some of your specific programs to do so?
Thank you for raising the question. And I think previous speakers have alluded to the fact that we have little data. But we do know and that the levels of domestic violence are increasing. And worldwide, we are seeing for every, I think, 3 months of lockdown, a raise of 15 million domestic violence cases. So it is very plausible to understand that it will happen in Bangladesh, where already before the COVID-19, the rates were high. And the child marriage rates were high as well. But what we need to do, and we need to find a way to listen to the people. And as eminent speakers before me have said, the data is one challenge to know what is happening, what are the people receiving actually from the already targeted efforts that are being provided. So I would like to engage in a process and seek guidance in how can we listen more, so whatever solutions we provide are meeting the actual and current needs. For example, for us, the way we have provided gender-based violence prevention and healing response have to be thought through, because the referral pathways are not really working and the shelters are not really working. In some places there are, but then women are fearing to go there because they don't know if they will be incurring, for example, COVID-19 on the way. So women are in a very anxious and difficult situation, harboring, I can imagine, we are working to ensure that the facilities are there and that they are equipped. And my name, my Bangla is not developed, but my name is Asa.
Asa.
I may have hope, and I may be working towards that particular hope that we will find some new ways of meeting the deep needs of women. For example, we have now mobile midwifery teams that can go and help women where they are.
Well,
Looking into telemedicine solutions where we can provide support online and provide the referral to the women. And we are looking for psychosocial counseling. Even I have heard of mobile virtual courts that can be provided.
Well,
So I think that is the source of maybe my optimism. Disastrous situation, there can be the hope that we can build back better and we can capitalize on the investments and be agile and continue and get back to deliver the services to the people that they need. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Dr. Asa. Professor Hawk, you might add something here. Dr. Hawk.
Yeah, thank you very much. I would like to ask Dr. Asa, is UNICEF doing anything for child marriage or any programs during this COVID situation, and also to reduce the pregnancy that the number is increasing? So is there any program from your side through the health happening right now or not? Can I have that answer and then I'll progress?
Thank you. Yes. May I, through the chair, respond?
Sure. Surely. Dr. Asa, we'll talk more on some of UNFPA introduced programs in Bangladesh after a short break. দর্শক দেখছেন RTV নিয়মিত আলোচনা অনুষ্ঠান Forthright। এই পর্যায়ে নিচ্ছি বিরতি, ফিরছি একটু পরে। সে পর্যন্ত আমাদের সাথেই থাকুন। দর্শক, আবারও আমন্ত্রণ Forthright অনুষ্ঠানে। আজকে কথা বলছিলাম জাতিসংঘের এবছরের জনসংখ্যা সম্পর্কিত প্রতিবেদনের বিভিন্ন দিক নিয়ে। ওয়েলকাম এগেইন অল অফ ইউ অ্যাট Forthright, Dr. Asa. Before the break, you were talking about different programs about UNFPA. Please continue.
A very interesting and important question on what is UNFPA doing and with UNICEF regarding child marriage. And it is true that our ways of working are a little bit different. The way we used to engage, for example, in the schools to build awareness, of course, we have to rethink how are we doing that now when the school is not up and working and some of the services are not there. So what we are doing a lot is to move, of course, with the communication campaigns and try to engage with youth to spread the message and to give the awareness, the information, to support the helplines, the hotlines, the different kind of tele options where youth can direct their questions and their regarding these matters. And on family planning, it is the same thing. We try to work with targeted communication campaigns to share the knowledge and to work at the lower levels to engage very closely, of course, strengthening the midwives and their role in the actual meeting with the people that we serve, and in particularly the women. But you are right that the way in which we have been working in this particular phase with the lockdown has to be a little bit reconceptualized. But nothing is stopping us, not even a pandemic. We will just keep on finding our ways to make sure that Shunno, there will be no preventable maternal death, Shunno, no unmet need for family planning, and Shunno, we will work towards ending gender-based violence. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Dr. Hossein Jilur Rahman, what are the decisions that policymakers must take to mitigate the situations?
Well, that's a very big question. I'll try and give a few answers. Restrict our attention to the issues of population. There is, of course, so many other issues. The issues of economies are huge issues, etc. I think there is some immediate issue about what Professor Ruhulok was saying about we are still in the middle of the pandemic. We are having this discussion today, July 13th, but we should not imagine that the pandemic is already gone or is behind us. We are still very much in the middle of the crisis. And is where policymakers, I think, need to ensure that the possibilities of spread are contained. And I think, as Professor Ruhulok said, the Eid is coming up. It's very important that policymakers give appropriate guidance and instructions so that there is no further spike in this infection. So this is an immediate priority. I think we really need to look at that. The other issue is in terms of why, for example, the woman did, as Dr. Asa was saying, women's health, both pregnant women and as well as adolescent health. One interesting data that we have already seen is that when the COVID-19 struck, many of the healthcare has dried up. Private sector seemed to have closed all its doors. Women and children and adolescents did not get the amount of service they should have haven't got that. Interestingly, also public sector, particularly the family planning type of services, also dried up in the public sector. And I think I would just conclude by saying two important ideas that policymakers should take on board very strongly. And I welcome comments by Professor Ruhulok as well as Dr. Asa Torkelsson. One is that the family planning program, Bangladesh has been an important success story about family planning. But this was a success of the past. We are in danger of losing that success now. And I think among the policymakers, there is a sort of I would say, confusion or a sort of a mixed understanding that population is no longer a problem for us. And therefore, because of that mindset, family planning department within the health ministry has become like a secondary actor. And as you saw, when the COVID-19 struck, family planning services, there was no official instruction to close down those services. But they also closed down actually in a indirect sense. Informal way. So as a whole, I think, and the success of the family planning, which was by these family welfare visitors going to house, encouraging people, giving the trust to women, etc. All those have weakened. If you take a bit of inquiry, you will find that the family planning department is suffering from a lack of confidence. All the machinery is there. The people are there, but they're suffering from a lack of confidence, a crisis of confidence. I think the policymakers need to address that crisis of confidence within the family planning and this mother and child service. And the second one, which is also very important, private healthcare has been an important strength of Bangladesh. But COVID-19 has shown also the weakness of this private sector. Particularly, the governance of the private sector healthcare is become a very, very big issue. And as you saw, some of these false corona tests, that's one type of problem. But as a whole, private sector services have completely dried up. And some of them took an over-commercial attitude to women's health. Many of these private sector clinics were engaged in unnecessary cesarean operations. Bangladesh actually, global norm is about 10 to 15% of pregnant women may have to resort to cesarean section. Bangladesh is about 30 to 35%. And a huge amount of this is purely commercial. And so I would say that these two things, policymakers should address the immediate problem of stopping the spread of the infection. On a longer term, they should address the crisis of confidence in the family planning department as a whole, and they should take a very close look at the overall governance of the private healthcare sector. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Jilur Rahman. Professor Rul Haq, I think you must say on cesarean section, and do you think healthcare workers receiving the safety and support required to provide life-saving services?
Thank you very much. I think there are very, very important issues what has been raised by Dr. Jilur Rahman and Dr. Asa. The issues of pregnancies, increased pregnancy, and the services to be delivered by our health workers, especially the family planning, has also been a little bit neglected this time. So on both sides, as the couples are staying at home all the time, so there is increased pregnancy, and also the problems of the family planning services are not that or the services have been hampered by the COVID because the people are not moving in the village from house to house. So both of this is going to increase definitely. So also the same thing, the increase of child marriage, because and they are especially the female students who are falling out of the school, they are out of the school for quite some time, and parents would like to get rid of them and out of the way to somewhere else. So that has also increased. So this what Professor Jilur Rahman or Surgeon Jilur Rahman was saying is our family planning services has been neglected for a long time, not only by Bangladesh but also by the international community. So these services that we used to have in 60s is no longer there. We have a very excellent service, and also the community clinic, our health workers, they used to go from home to home, and so that has also been reduced. The other problem, whether you have noticed or not, I have had some reports. A lot of people have moved from the town to and many of them are pregnant. They used to have some medical health checkup in the town or in the city, but now they have moved to the village. They don't have that care. They don't know where to go. What Asa was saying before, and they have got difficulty in finding out the right place. And some of them are having a home delivery by choice, not by choice, but by there is no other alternative. So that is also increasing maternal mortality, maybe child mortality. And I believe we need to look into these situations during this time, see how we can reduce the maternal mortality, child mortality, the vaccination program. The vaccination program is a success. You know, our Prime Minister was the vaccine hero last year, or this year from the Gavi, and we have done excellent. Some of the vaccines are 99% the availability in the community, but that has also come down. So all these services to the community, the preventive health is the only way to manage COVID, and that is also been hampered due to the COVID. So all this sector, the whole sector of health has been really multiple in the many sectors. The increased pregnancy, increased child marriage, increased home delivery, and reduction of the family planning services. So many things that has come forward. In the primary care services from the community clinics also has come down a little bit. We need to address all this together to really come up in the future.
Thank you. Dr. Asa, since the lockdown measures in response to COVID-19 have closed schools, how do young people continue to receive skills and support for their psychosocial needs?
Yeah, I think this is one of our big concerns. And of course, it depends on how well resourced you are, if you can access digital technologies, if you can access the learning platforms, then to some extent you can keep up with the options that are available. But I know that even in those cases, it is very difficult for children who are not able to relate to others. And a lot of their life is lived, of course, in the virtual spaces. But my most large concern is, of course, for those who are outside of the digital economy, or even for digital society, the digital spaces, or who may not even have access to mobile phones. And that means even the data that we have is largely driven by information from people who have mobile phone technology, etc. So we really need to know how we can serve those who don't have these measures. So for me, I'm very concerned about how they are doing. I can imagine that they must be holding enormous anxieties on the situation, that they may not know what they should be doing right now. And of course, we are all concerned. We don't know.
Well,
but we can be very concerned. And as has been mentioned throughout this rich discussion, the issue of child marriage can be a real threat, especially to girls under those vulnerable circumstances.
Thank you. Dr. Hossein Jillur Rahman, what are the implications of COVID-19 for the young generation in Bangladesh?
I think there are very important implications, and as Dr. Asa mentioned at the end, and this is actually, I feel, and I'm also talking to Dr. Asa and Professor Ruhul Haq, that globally also, this is not so much in the discussion as yet, because the focus has been on the health crisis and the economic crisis. But I feel that the human capital recovery is going to be really, really challenging down the line. It's going to be really challenging. And for the youth, there is also already a great uncertainty. There is the school closure means that school life is, of course, threatened. And what I see is the possibility that there is a new digital, we have heard about digital divide. Now, digital divide-based economic inequality may rise, actually, as Dr. Asa hinted. But here, let me be, the chair asked me, how can you be optimistic? I see two opportunities which you should be, and policymakers in particular can take those on board, including our development partners. One is that we should, schools are closed, we know, but there are opportunities to give other types of education, skill education, etc. And I think the crisis is equally important for the urban and the rural youth. And I feel that we have an opportunity here to reimagine our community centers. Mr. Chair, আমাদের যে community center, অথবা স্থানীয় পাঠাগার যেগুলো বললাম, I think there is a challenge of reimagining these community centers. We have become used to having them as wedding venues, etc. But I think they should be reimagined as very important supplementary human capital creating facilities, where those who are deprived of personal access to digital technology can have community access to digital technology. This is, I think, very important. And I think particularly in cities like our slums of Dhaka city, we can start this process. The other one, which is very important, and BRAC has taken some initiative here, and I see a great opportunity here, is that we can really use this occasion of school being closed to also make a change in how we teach our children. Mr. Chair, আমরা বাংলা একটা শব্দ বলি মুখস্থ বিদ্যা, rote learning. Now, BRAC has initiated a small program where pre-primary children, those who are very young, in their own community, they are not via high-level digital technology, but just through a mobile phone, a very ordinary mobile phone, they are given lessons, which is not just rote learning, but they're asked to, for example, go out to their neighborhood and identify 5 trees. So they learn about the nature. And I think there is a great opportunity of pedagogic revolution here. I will particularly like to have a conversation maybe later with Asa and Ruhulok, etc., separately, that will let us grab these opportunities also. We really, and BRAC has started this, and hopefully this is something I think we can consider. Also, that other suggestion I had about community centers to overcome
it's a one kind of intimate learning. Is it?
Exactly. But it's with the purpose is a different one. To get away from those rote learning, learn from our environment. For example, this hand washing, etc. Just think about our religion talks about uju, ablution.
Exactly.
What is uju? It is about continuous hand washing 5 times a day, cleanliness. We can learn from our own surroundings, and I think this pedagogic opportunity, we should try to really take advantage of this. Thank you.
We are almost at the end of the program. Any final thoughts you want to share with the viewers? Starting from Asa Torkelsson.
Thank you for this conversation. Maybe, as we know, crises are bringing out our anxieties and also the best in every human being. We are seeing so many brave ways to overcome the challenges. And as the professors have mentioned before me, some of the excellent ideas are also coming. We can see them on the horizon. So we need to also be equally brave to be part of contributing to these solutions that they can realize and build back really better and faster, because this is really needed. So also for me, again, I want to reiterate with a great appreciation, admiration to everyone who specifically serving on the front lines and those who are helping them to serve. We are just very indebted for all the lives that are being saved by these courageous people. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining with us, Dr. Asa.
I do.
Yes. Any final thought you want to share with our viewers?
One final thought I would like to share is that we have talked about doctors, we have talked about family planning workers and others. I think in this COVID-19, a very important frontline worker are the municipal cleaners. The cleaners are a very important frontline worker. আমাদের পরিচ্ছন্ন কর্মী যারা, বিশেষ করে পৌরসভার পরিচ্ছন্ন কর্মীরা, and we need to, they are looked down upon. They have not been focused in this whole COVID-19. We give the appropriate support and appropriate recognition to these municipal cleaners, because cleanliness will be an agenda not just for COVID-19. It should become an agenda for the future also. আমরা যখন বাংলাদেশকে উন্নত বাংলাদেশ হিসেবে চিন্তা করব, I think we also need to think about Bangladesh as a hygienic Bangladesh.
Well,
Hygiene must become one of our key priorities of the future. Thank you.
well, thank you very much. Professor Rogula Hawk, any final thoughts you want to share?
What I was saying, that every crisis gives opportunities to anywhere in any nation. So during this COVID crisis, I hope that the health system has shown us there's some of the holes in the health system. And we have been able to see, the whole nation have been able to see, health doesn't mean the hospitals only. We need the preventive or that is a very important part of the health. What we have been saying before. All of us know, আমরা জানি যে আমরা এমডিজিতে অন্য প্রাইস উত্তর দিয়েছিলাম মাতৃমৃত্যু হার, শিশু হার, maternal mortality and child mortality কমানোর জন্য. That is not through the big hospitals, it is through the preventive health. So preventive health আমাদের একটি বড় জিনিস, সেই জায়গায় আমরা খুব বেশি নজর দিই না. আমরা we always, when we think of health, we think of big hospitals. I hope people have been able to see that the preventive health is a very important part and that we should take care of it.
Thank you.
I hope that the nation have been able to look through and we will be able to defy our system this time. Thank you all, and I hope that you all stay healthy and free of COVID.
Thank you very much indeed for sharing your views and appreciated for joining with us. দর্শক, একটি সমাজের সামাজিক অর্থনৈতিক উন্নয়নে নারীদের ভূমিকা অনস্বীকার্য। তবে বাল্যবিবাহের মতো বিষয়গুলো আমাদের এই অর্জনকে প্রশ্নবিদ্ধ করতে পারে। সমাজের প্রতি ক্ষেত্রে নারীর প্রতি সহিংসতা রোধে পুরুষদের ভূমিকা অগ্রগণ্য। আজকের অতিথিদের সঙ্গে আমরা বলতে চাই, অন্যায় বৈষম্য বন্ধ হোক, নারীর প্রতি সহিংসতা, এই প্রত্যাশায় শেষ করছে আজকের ফোর্থরাইট। এতক্ষণ সঙ্গে থাকার জন্যে ধন্যবাদ সবাইকে।
For more updates, subscribe and press the bell icon on YouTube app and never miss another update.